Okay, this video is going to show you how to document your work using natural light. I've made another video where I show you how to document your work using a direct light source, like a clamp-on light, and you can light from somewhat of the back and cast shadows forward. But you can do really nice photographs with just natural light. Of course, it has to be during the day, and you want to find a nice well-lit room. So for example, this room here, there's a window there, there's a window here, there's a window there. And I have this table set up. It's pushed against the wall. And what else am I saying? So, it's pushed up against the wall. There's a lot of light kind of hitting the sculpture here, and you can even see some of these cast shadows. So you can definitely see the plane shifts and everything like that. Eventually you would crop off the stuff that you don't want in the image and you can crop it off in your phone, or you can use Photoshop if you download the image to your computer. All right, before I go any further, I want to show you a few things though. This sculpture here is small. And by no means is this what your geometric paper form is going to look like. This is more like a half version. But just for the sense of documenting something, for the video, I've chose to use this. What you're going to do though is, because the size of this is small, I'm able to use this board. And if you look really closely, it is foam board. Foam board is sandwiched together between two sheets of paper. And what's nice about this foam board, it's a matte finish. So therefore it kind of absorbs light, it doesn't reflect light, and that's good. If you don't have, you do have the matte board because it came in your kit. But if your sculpture is too big and it doesn't frame within the matte board all the way around and it kind of goes outside, for example, it goes out to, breaks outside the border of the foam board, then you're gonna have to get a little more creative. For example, you can probably use the base of this foam board, but what you do, you want to find a white wall, and I have a nice white wall here, and there you go. Voila, you have the object. The other thing you want to play around with too is you want to take multiple shots of this as you're photographing. I'll talk about that in a minute, but you also want to push this off the wall a little bit and see what that does. Push it back towards the wall a little bit, see what that does. Are there any other shadows that are interesting, that make a better photograph if you push it off the wall? Because remember, the shadow is also part of the photograph because you're documenting this. This is a two-dimensional representation of your three-dimensional object. All right, once you figure out what you're gonna do, you're like, okay, I'm gonna use my white wall. I push my table up. This is just a work table I have here. I pushed it up against the wall. I used my mat or my foam board as my ground plane, and I'm just going to use the white wall. Even though the white wall is probably a slightly different color, a different white than the matte board. If you were to use this matte board, it would match a little better, and that's nice. But if your sculpture is too big and you just can't crop it afterwards, then just use the white wall. It's bigger, and it should work out. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your cell phone and you're going to kind of zoom in there and take a shot. And in some cases, you can just luck out and then take that nice perfect shot. What you want to do though is, after you take that shot, turn it a little bit, even though this is symmetrical, but you want to maybe turn the sculpture and then take another shot. This is going to look the same thing all the way around. And this is super important. If you look in my viewfinder on my camera, see I'm going to call it the horizon line, but see the line where the wall meets the ground plane? You want that as parallel to the top and bottom of your viewfinder as you can get it. You do not want to take a photograph like this. This is kind of looks crooked. And you don't want to go in an angle. You want to photograph head on. So that's a parallel line in the background, perfectly parallel. It's very important. If you want to wait till the sun shines to get even more light in here, because right now it's a little drab, but you can still get pretty good shots. with this. You can also play around with your phone to allow more light if you're able to figure out some of the technical aspects of your phone. And then afterwards you can edit it. So I'm gonna make another video about editing something. So I'm just gonna take a couple shots. This is hard because I'm trying not to get in your way. Let's just say that's a shot. Let me see what that looks like. Now my wall is a little crooked, meaning that it bows out in the middle and there's this dark spot here, and then there's a dark spot there in the seam of the paper. So I'm just gonna put this foam board back up because I know that's a flat edge, and because this is small, see there's the photo there. Because this is small, I can use my foam board. Just don't fall on me, foam board, come on, work with me here. So I'm just gonna try to snap a couple of photos. Also, I forgot to mention this. You want to think about different viewpoints too. You don't want to zoom in too much. You want to include the whole thing. But do you want to look down? Do you want to look as if you're eye level with the form, or a little bit up? I think this one works best up. I'm just going to turn this just a hair. I can crop it later. All right, I'll just go with that guy there. I didn't mean to have my live take another one. Take as many as you can, and then you're going to select one that works. After this video, again, I'm going to just show you how to make those adjustments in your camera, and I believe that's it. All right, so this video is showing you, I mean, I have an iPhone here, and not everybody has an iPhone, but it's just going to show you some basic phone or editing techniques, I suppose. So if you do have an iPhone, what you want to do is you want to look at your photographs. I mean, you can do this with any phone. Most phones can do what I'm doing here. So look at your photographs, see which one is the best one that you want to use. I kind of like that one. But I'm going to go with this one here, just to go with it. So the reason I'm going with this one, because that back line is kind of on a diagonal. I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm going to crop it in because you can see some issues there. I'm going to try to play with the exposure so it gets a little lighter in value, but not overexpose it. And what am I going to do here? All right, so the first thing I want to do is edit. And what's nice about these little circles here is they do different things. So this is brilliance. You can turn it up, you can turn it down. I actually like using that brilliance sometimes, but I'm just gonna go over to exposure. So if you click on these, kind of shows you different, you can go to contrast. Ooh, contrast is nice. I actually really like that. So I'm going to give it a little contrast. What does brightness do? Maybe just a little bit of brightness. I'm trying to find exposure, and I think I went past it. Where is oh, there it is. Exposure. So exposure will give you, I mean, you can overexpose, and that's what it means when it turns bright white, but you can underexpose where it's too dark. But if you just want to get a little bit more brightness to it without using brightness, you can use exposure. So I'm happy with that. Done. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make those adjustments. I'm going to go back to edit, and I'm going to, if you look down here at the bottom, I'm going to try to angle this, and I'm looking, and there's a grid that overlaps, and it helps me make that back line parallel to the line I'm trying to make. And I just did it. So I just angled it a bit. I'm happy with that. And then after this, I'm going to frame it a little bit more. Or crop it is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to crop too much at the bottom because I like those shadows that are playing a role there. And then I hit done. And I have a decent image. This is, again, using natural light. It's okay. I would definitely take more, and I would try to get this at different times of the day. And I would also try to make more photographs, so I have as many options as I can to tinker with exposure and things of that nature. So that's basically it. It's just cropping, and then after this, oh, one more thing. Do you see how it's kind of yellow? If you go to edit and then scroll up, there's something called warmth here. Let me just find warmth. There it is, warmth. The opposite of warmth is cool. So if something seems too warm, meaning yellow, orange, red, and you want to neutralize that and try to make it more neutrally white by applying the complementary color, which is blue and greens, cool colors, then you can just go in this direction here and it gets really blue. I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to go about like maybe right here. And that's pretty good. I think I'm happy with that one. All right.